So, very big welcome to the Balfour Hospital. Thanks for coming out tonight to this oral presentation about the sustainability items that have been built into this brand new hospital. Contrary to what you see behind you, not here for a training session on hydrotherapy or anything. We are actually here to look at the renewable energy. We have two people going to give us a presentation first, and we'll then take some questions. The first will be Sharon Smith from NHS Orkney, who's been involved in the hospital since before it was built as a user, now contracts manager on behalf of the hospital. And we've also got Dominic Symonds here from Robertsons, who's a newer joiner to the team here. He's only been here a year, but he's going to sort of lead us on the conduct us around some of the back areas of the hospital, which you don't normally get to see. So I think we're very lucky to have that, and we really appreciate you taking time out this evening to spare some time with us and talk to us about some of the renewable stuff that you've put into this hospital. Also, thanks to Mike, who's doing our techie stuff, and Angus. But I don't think there's actually anyone online, so we've got the most high-tech recording of PowerPoint ever.
Stand up.
But we will put the first bit online. The second bit is just for you. Nobody else is going to see this better the rest of the talk because it's not going to be filmed. So without any further ado, thank you very much.
Yeah, so the first slide shows the building that you're standing in this evening, the Balfour, which is said to be the biggest construction project on Orkney Island since the St Magnus Cathedral was completed in the 12th century. So as you can tell, it was a big project for us at NHS Orkney. Whoops, wrong way.
So again, as you can see, we have a 49-bed, all single bedroom hospital now. 16,500 square metre facilities, providing a range of accessible healthcare services from one location. It's actually greatly reduced the need to travel away south for the patients. So we've got all-in-one hospital here now for you. Again, when the contract started, when NHS first went into contract, they put it out to tender, and they came up to Robertsons Construction, who put a design in, which in the future you'll see a bit of the video behind where we got the design where this is today.
And part of our requirements at NHS Orkney was sustainability and how we can keep people on island rather than travel, and the carbon footprint of going away to Aberdeen, and for the benefit of patients as well. Video.
Yeah, well, it says also that, but part of that on the design project of that was a lot of it to do with the renewables, because obviously they took into account the Orkney and its renewable history and what they've been doing. So we had to take into account that when they were on the design phase. So we're going to show you a video now, and it'll just give you a bit of an update from where they started to what you've got the building is today.
This truly is once in a generational stuff we're doing, being able to open up a new hospital within Orkney. We're leaving legacy for generations of Orcadians to come. Everybody in Orkney knows and loves the Balfour Hospital, but I don't think there was any doubt in anybody's mind that the physical constraints and the physical condition of that building were not where we wanted to be.
Unfortunately, the main part of the building has been well past its use-by date. So really, Orkney, after 70 years, really deserved a new hospital.
Well, I was privileged to be on the dialogue team, and I was in the room the very first day Natalie Duffy showed us the proposed design. But before that, she showed us Scarabray, so an aerial shot of the Scarabray site. We're wondering where this was going as she comes further and further away from it. And then this design appeared on the screen in front of us. And it was just that wow moment.
You know, it's important to have a sense of identity in any building, and the opportunity here was unique to really try and tie back to something that is only Orcadian. The curves of the building and the way that they create the sheltered space was an opportunity to do that, whilst also, and more importantly, really addressing the clinical brief. It's a rural general hospital, so it has almost every department that a larger hospital has, but on a much smaller scale. But then you still need to achieve the flows and the connectivity within that as well, so that has to be #1 priority.
The building houses a range of NHS services, that are quite unique in nature. So we have primary care, acute care, we also have some elements of social care, we have office accommodation.
There's 2 theatres, there's CT rooms, there's a dental surgery, there's a Macmillan cancer unit, there's 2 doctor surgeries coming in.
Radiology, obviously we have an emergency department.
We've got a purpose-built pharmacy, purpose-built laboratories. We've got 100% single rooms in here.
We're nearly finished, Rhoda.
Yep,
How has it been for you overall?
exciting. I think it's just as simple as that. We're delighted with how it's looking and that we've got the adjacencies we need for remote and rural healthcare. But I would imagine that probably gave you some challenges.
Absolutely. It's been a challenging building to do because it's a very challenging environment to work in. Bringing material and accommodation, flights. Materials have been specified very specifically for Orkney's challenging climatic conditions. So,
So obviously the salt content is a lot higher here, isn't
absolutely. And driving rain, wind-driven rain, very challenging, very testing for a building.
The NHS Orkney project team have been fantastic, and the repatriation of services from the likes of Grampian gives them the opportunity to deliver locally to the 20-odd thousand people of the Orkney Isles.
It will allow people to stay at home and get more and more treatment here. And I think that it will only enhance what is a first-class health service.
It was always clear that Robertson understood our needs and our requirements. We were not looking for a builder, we were looking for a partner to take our project forward.
The professionalism and the honesty, they listened, they reacted to our challenge, and I think that the attitude to the health and safety, it's been absolutely amazing actually. It's exemplary.
The whole ethos is about open, collaborative approach. It's open and honest all the time.
And I think what we've done just now is put the grounding in place for a very successful long-term relationship with the client.
The thing I would sum up about this building is that I think it's a little gem. I think it's a wonderful building. I think it will serve the people of Orkney really well for the next 7 decades. I'm going to say that out loud. And I couldn't be prouder to have been part of it.
That short video just kind of gives you an indication why. A lot of people ask why is the building the way it is, and right from design stages they went and they looked at what the infrastructure is in Orkney, and we all know living here there is a great historical significance in these areas. So I guess I asked the same. As I said, I've only been here a year, but I've lived in Orkney for nearly 40 years, and you see this hospital for that video, and it all kind of brings it together why it is that kind of way. So again, we do the design. We look at it right at the beginning stage and look at what can we do renewable in this hospital. We've got this brand new hospital, spending all this money, what can we do? So again, everybody looks at what wind, why don't we put wind in? Wind turbines, what's happening everywhere, but we're in the middle of Kirkland. Yeah, where can we put them? Built up areas. So what can we do then? So long and hard they look, and we went down the heat pump route. So in this hospital, we have 2 heat pumps in the boiler room downstairs, and we've got one upstairs. And we've got heat pump 1, 2, and 3, which you'll get to see today. And they produce all our hot water and our heating in this area, okay, for the whole hospital. Okay. Some of the parts in these heat pumps, they're huge. I mean, you see the heat pumps you have on your houses are quite small. Air conditioning units, the ones we have here, they're really big. You know. With doing that, when putting the heat pumps in, obviously then we're able to apply for opt-in. Was it done into the renewable heat initiative? No, I got the wrong way, aren't I?
Yeah.
There we go. Hey, here we go. I've got heat pump 1 upstairs on the roof. I've got heat pump 2 and 3 in our buffer vessels. You'll get to see all them later on. Okay. But with having these heat pumps, we're able to apply to Ofgem as a renewable heat initiative, was it? Yeah. The scheme encourages to undertake renewable heating. The NHS were able to get that application in. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, and it gives us a refund, financial refund now for the next 20 years. And we were one of the last organisations before they closed, so we were very lucky to get that in.
Just a bit of, I wouldn't say information. So these heat pumps, for every kilowatt hour of electricity we use, we get nearly 4 kilowatts of heat out. That's how efficient they are. Okay. So every month we have to produce, everything's done by computer. Every month we have to produce spreadsheets to show you how everything's performing. So over 4 years, they've been very accurate. So we just run the report today. So this last month, we had a COP of 3.85. So for every kilowatt, we'll get 3.585 kilowatts out from that heat pumps. Then we go, not very sees them, solar panels, the other thing. So we have solar panels on here. At the moment, we have 492 solar panels on the roofs around this area. Highly efficient here. I think we're one of the top producing PV in Scotland, is it?
The smallest, but in the hospital, it's one of the smallest, but the most output.
So year to date, our years work slightly different. So for April this year, the end of the month in July, our solar arrays produced 110,000 kilowatts of electricity. No, sorry, I'm lying there. That was last year. This year, so far, from April today, we've produced 79,000 kilowatts. So we're going to be up. So it's working. So obviously, we had a really good summer. The better the summer, the more PV we produce. We are in the progress of looking at doing more solar PV around the hospital. We've got, at the moment, we're in the project stage of looking at design. We've got additional arrays we could put on the roof. We could produce up to another 90,000 kilowatts from the roof. We've also got another look at putting ones on the ground, which could produce up to another 100,000 kilowatts. But we're looking at scope of work for that, for more solar PV. We'll get to see them up there. They're quite arrays. They're all designed. We have the ones up on the roof here. We have the ones on the energy centre. I think many people know. I think it's quite a big topic in Orkney. Our solar panels are 4 years old, nearly 5 years old. You imagine new ones. I think a lot of new panels are a lot more efficient. So by the time we actually do, we need a scope of work for there.
So, that's what we've done for the new hospital. But obviously, we've got a nice new hospital, but it doesn't stop there. Our sustainability goals. It's just the start of the journey. The hospital that ends at the outputs we've got have far exceeded what we've got so far. But the rest of the things that we're working on, the NHS Orkney for sustainability, is clinical waste. We're concerned about the amount of waste that we produce and that was sent off island once a week, every single week of the year. So we applied for a grant from the Scottish Government to purchase our own clinical waste treatment unit, and that enables us to compact and sterilise our clinical waste and has reduced our carbon footprint on clinical waste by just under 80%. So we're really delighted with that. And it compacts it, as you can see, and now is sent off from heat for warmth, physical to kettle. I was getting mixed up what it is. So that's one of the areas where we're still continuing improving that.
You know where your slides are.
Yeah. Scottish Government legislation says that we need to replace all our ageing fleet, our fossil fuel vehicles, with all electric vehicles. So far we've got to 2025. So far we've replaced 70% of those, and we've also increased our EV chargers at the hospital, and we've more than doubled these, and we've got now a charging point at every property we own, even on the island. So that's progress. We're about 3/4 of the way there almost. Another thing that we do is we promote active travel. Not all three is in Orkney with the climate, but one of the requirements for me at the hospital was to have staff changing areas and showers to encourage people to active travel to work. And we've got bike area and run cycle maintenance workshops for staff and promote cycle to work scheme. So even in all weathers, you'll see the bikes out there. So that's one of the things we're trying to reduce, especially with the car park. It's never enough car parking spaces. I think we've got about 3 times the amount that we used to have, and it's still chock-a-block, as you can see. And so as well as the buildings, we turned our attention to the grounds that we've got, and we've provided benches and picnic tables where staff and visitors can go for tea break and have meetings with the dependents. And we've also developed an area of waste grant that we had. We applied for funding from NHS Orkney Endowments and the Green Exercise Partnership, and we had 3 large polytunnels built. One's for staff, one's for community, and one's for patients and workshops and therapy, where people can go. And the feedback, they've been open just over a year. The feedback has been amazing. And if you've not seen them yet, please feel free at any time to go and have a look on a plot. Although I think we're pretty fully booked for this year, but they grow amazing strawberries and marrows and everything in there. So that they've been a real benefit for patients, staff, and everybody in the community. So I think that's like a whistle-stop tour of what we've done so far. Our goals for the future is one of the things, we complete a national sustainability assessment tool as required by the Scottish Government. Each health board has to do that. And there's 170 questions that we have to return every year, go from capital projects to green space and transport. And we're proud to say that at the moment we've got a silver level, but we're 4% off getting a gold award. So that's our ambitions for the next year. And it's good because it gives us a baseline. We don't get anything for an award, but it gives us a baseline of where we are and what we can improve on with regard to sustainability. We've also just received a grant. Received a grant from the Scottish Government for £4 million to decarbonise the rest of the estate, because it's not just about the Balfour, though the Balfour's wonderful and our blueprint. We want to then just decarbonise all the properties that we own by having no fossil fuel heating at all. So we've got heat pumps and wind turbines and solar panels and whatever we can use as renewable energy there. So we've got advisors that are working with us at the moment on doing that, and that work should be complete by 2025. So that's really just a highlights of what NHS Orkney are doing or trying to do to reduce our carbon footprint and increase our sustainability goals. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, that was amazing. I stood there like, I actually didn't even realise you finished. I was like so fascinated by it all. I was like, it's something. So that was great. We got a little few minutes now for questions if anyone would like to ask any.
So lots of really interesting information. Thank you. You've told quite a lot about what the PV panel can generate.
Yeah.
Could you give us a rough idea of how much and how the hospital needs? How many megawatts we're talking to run the building on average?
That's technical for me. I'll see if Dom knows that, or we could get back to you on that one.
Fair enough.
If you don't know, do you?
So just to kind of give you an idea, I've got some actually facts and figures in here. The consumption for a year was 1.3 million kilowatts of electricity. Okay, so that's the kilowatt hours. So obviously everything's measured. We have. So again, as you can see, we have to. I won't pass it out, but I have to produce a report every month on energy for that hospital, so they can see everything. They can monitor. So month by month, it shows you our water usage, our electricity usage, all use we use. Any facility we use, we monitor. Because obviously when they built they had a business model for the whole hospital that you signed up to, so we have to actually match that model, which is quite challenging sometimes. But again, just during COVID, a lot of hospitals shut down. So they opened this new hospital, then it closed down again. And then it's only now in the last year that we're really getting back up to where we are. And some figures, they all look a bit, they change the whole time. And it depends what the hospital's doing at the time. So in the summer, it works really efficiently. And in the winter, you guys are their own. But it's a huge consumption of electricity, because you think it's running 24 hours a day, you've got these huge wards, everything like that. So that's kind of gives you an idea of what consumption is over a year in the place.
Our ambition is to increase the solar panels if we can get funding for it.
So if we can increase those solar panels, we can reduce that down. I know if we're doing 1.3 million, 1.3 kilowatts of electricity, but we're reducing 100 watts. I mean, it's only 10%, but still 10% better. And I think anybody that works on solar PV at home, there's gains and losses all over the place. But on a building this size, I mean, you'd have to cover every bit of green space just to cover the thing, which isn't going to be the other way around. So it's a balancing act between the two.
Well, good thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just to point out, that's about 1% of Orkney's electricity demand that's been used in the hospital.
There's the lady there.
Your solar PV, obviously, you have a generation curve.
Yeah,
It obviously peaks in at certain points of the day.
yeah.
Do you use all the electric you generate, or do you export to grid?
No, every kilowatt of electricity produced by the solar PV is used within hospital. There's nothing exported.
So, do you store it then, until it's used, or does
No,
it just get
it
swallowed
gets used
straight
constantly.
away?
Yeah, because there was such a big demand the whole time. If you can imagine, by the time you have the ward, the kitchens, laundries, everything, it's getting. I mean, if you think, I mean,
It's a lot of electricity.
it's a lot of electricity. Yeah. You
24/7.
could break it down more. That we have it's called a BMS system, a building management system, and it monitors everything. So we can actually break it down into small about where it's getting used and when's the peaks and troughs, of course, where the high demand. So as you can imagine, from 8 o'clock in the morning to about 4 o'clock, that's the biggest demand. But then you've got the wards that are on use the whole time. So you've got inpatients 1, inpatients 2. They're manned and working 24 hours a day, so they're always using electricity. So anything we're making now will be used in those wards. But we don't supply any. We don't put anything in the grid. And it's something to look at in the future to see if there is battery storage enough. I mean, trying to do battery storage here would be a huge, colossal feat.
Yeah,
But in the
manage
future,
to increase our solar
Yeah.
panels, and then we could look at if we could use battery storage.
We put a system in for, what's it called, the zoo.
Fern Valley.
Yeah,
They use everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't need us.
No, you don't need batteries. We don't need it here at the moment. So
I take it that's how you get around the ban on the amount of electricity you can produce
yes,
by EVs
yeah,
by not being connected.
yeah. No, we're not connected to the grid. No, yeah. So it's everything put it back into the hospital. So that must have been done at the design stage, because I know everybody in Orkney's on the houses. You're limited to what you can actually have in your houses because the feedback in the tariff. We're not like that here. It all gets used because the percentages, I guess, would be the way it worked before my time. So I can't really answer the truthful question on that. But we're not for the size of the system. Would not have to be connected to the grid or feedback into the grid.
I see, yeah. And of course, with storage, the electricity board counts storage as generation. Yeah.
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 Just wondering about the heating. You've got air conditioning in the buildings as well. Is that looped into the same heating system, or are they actually separate?
So how the heat pumps work is there's radiant panels in the ceiling, so there's underfloor heating, there's radiant panels, but also you'll see there's air conditioning as well, which is a separate system as well, because everywhere is zonal as well. But the main heating of the building is done by the heat pumps through a hot water system. So you'll see there's radiant panels, but also we have to have these air conditioning. That's just more for air conditioning in the rooms. So they're separate units. You'll see them all on the roof as well when you go up there.
So you're rejecting the heat from the...
Yeah. So how it's the air handling units, what they do is you'll see that there's all the vents around the building. So you'll maybe have, so you look up on the ceiling, you'll get these 2 vents, they'll be putting air in. These 2 vents will be the extraction, and it takes it in at one end, puts the other, and it does its magic. So if it's taking it out at 25 and the air temperature outside is 14, when it goes in, it'll go through its thermal wheel, and then it'll pump it through the air conditioning unit, and then it'll set that at 21. So the average temp of the hospital, we try and keep it at an average 21. So you'll see we have about 21 air handling units upstairs. Plus then there's zonal smaller areas where they have some air conditioning, because we have computer rooms that need to have their own separate air conditioning. But when you see that's what all the vents are in the ceilings for, that's what the air handling units do. And then we also have radiant panels as well that does the air to water, or that does the hot water, but heating in as well.
Where you've got an air conditioning unit like this one,
Yeah.
cooling, is the heat. Sorry. When you've got an air conditioning unit like this one providing cooling, is the heat from that simply being lost outside, or does that go back into the heating system?
No, it goes back in. So it extracts and it comes in and it'll pop it through there. It comes back into the room at 21. So all the temperatures set at 21. So it's an auto system. So it automatically sets the temperature when it goes to the air handling units. It'll take it out. So it will take because it's taking air from outside and inside, and then put it back through. And when it's popping it through here, it adjusts all the temperature so it comes back through these units at 21.
Oh, so this is linked into the sensor.
Yes, that's what they're linked to. All these are linked into the air handling units.
Right. Thank you.
So they got that's what it all does.
If there's one last question, we'll take it. Otherwise, we have actually used up the time for this bit. But if there is one last question, happy to take it. No? Well, that was absolutely fantastic. Now, normally we say thank you at the end of the tour, but I've got a feeling it might be a bit difficult. So if you'd like to say thank you now in a normal way.